welcome to the deep dive. Okay, imagine this nightmare scenario.
Hmm.
A single password, maybe forgotten, maybe reused on just one laptop, and suddenly, bam, that's the way into your entire network.
Yeah, that's a thing that definitely keeps IT folks up at night.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into managing local administrator passwords. Seems simple, right? But when you scale it up, it can quickly turn into one of your biggest security weak points.
It really can. It's that kind of, subtle risk, the kind that can just blow up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the sheer number of endpoints any organization has now. Laptops, desktops, servers maybe. Each one potentially have a local admin account.
Right.
And if those passwords aren't managed, like meticulously, that's a huge attack surface just waiting. One weak link, like you said, can totally compromise everything.
And it's interesting, isn't it, how organizations often start with just a basic need. Like, let's just change these passwords, but then they realize the rabbit hole goes way, way deeper.
Definitely. Compliance, monitoring, least privilege. It expands quickly.
So for this deep dive, we're going to break down two really prominent solutions designed to tackle this exact issue. First, there's Microsoft LAPS, that's Local Administrator Password Solution.
Yeah.
And second, Delinea Privilege Manager.
A very different approach.
Right. So our mission for you listening is to give you a really clear understanding of what each one offers, where they really shine,
Yeah.
and maybe just as crucial, what their limits are.
Yeah, the gotchas.
Exactly. The goal is for you to walk away with those sort of aha moments, things that apply directly to your company's specific size, its scope, its security posture.
We want to arm you with the info to make a good choice. Because, what works for a small startup, probably not going to cut it for a big, complex enterprise.
Or vice versa, maybe.
Or vice versa, absolutely. Needs very wildly.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with Microsoft LAPS.
Okay.
So at its core, LAPS is really designed to manage and automatically rotate local admin passwords.
Right. The key is local admin password.
On Windows machines, specifically ones that are joined to a domain.
Correct. Domain joined Windows.
And a really key piece here, I think, the thing that makes it so attractive to a lot of people is that it securely stores those passwords right there in Active Directory.
Yeah, it leverages your existing AD infrastructure. That's kind of the genius of it for certain environments.
So it ties right in.
Exactly. You manage LAPS through group policy, GPOs, and Active Directory itself. So if you're already, deep in that Microsoft world, it feels pretty natural, almost like just enabling a feature you didn't know you had.
Right.
But that integration, that's also where its main limitation comes in.
How so?
Well, it's strictly limited to Active Directory environments and Windows-only systems. That's it.
Okay.
It doesn't play outside that specific Microsoft sandbox at all. No Mac OS, no Linux, nothing standalone.
Got it. So deep in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Yeah.
But there was one detail our sources flagged that really jumped out at me. I think listeners might find this surprising.
Oh.
LAPS is explicitly listed by Microsoft as not supported.
Ah, yes. That little detail.
That seems like a pretty major catch, doesn't it? I mean, if you're a company relying on this for, critical security, what does not supported actually mean if there's a crisis?
That's a really critical question, and yeah, it's often kind of glossed over. Not supported basically means there's no official Microsoft help desk to call. No patches specifically for LAPS issues, no troubleshooting support, no liability if something goes wrong because of it.
Wow. So you're kind of on your own?
Pretty much.
Wow.
While it works fine for basic stuff in a bigger company, that lack of a safety net, that can be a huge risk. Your own IT team essentially becomes the tier 3 support for this security tool.
Right.
Even for its core functions. It's that classic, free often comes with hidden costs, especially when security is involved.
That is a powerful distinction.
Okay.
But despite that, LAPS is still super popular, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it is free if you have Active Directory. And generally, it's pretty easy to get going for just basic password rotation.
It really hits that sweet spot for certain use cases, no question.
Like, what kind of scenarios are we talking about?
Okay, imagine you're the IT admin at, say, a mid-sized law firm. Maybe 70, 80 Windows machines.
Okay.
Your main headache is just making sure every single laptop has a different local admin password and that those passwords actually get changed regularly. You don't want the same password everywhere.
Right. The basic hygiene.
Exactly. Basic but critical password hygiene. For that kind of scenario, LAPS is often the perfect answer. It's built for small to mid-sized places, mostly Windows, where the core need is just that fundamental rotation and secure storage in AD.
And maybe where you don't have, like, super complex compliance demands.
Precisely. If you don't need granular session monitoring or really detailed audit logs beyond what AD offers natively, LAPS does the job.
So wrapping up on LAPS then, the key thing to remember is it's free, it's easy for basic tasks, great for unique rotated passwords on domain-joined windows.
Yep.
But definitely limited. Limited scope, limited functionality beyond passwords, and crucially, zero support for anything non-Windows.
It's a foundational tool. Think of it like that, not a comprehensive security suite.
Got it. Foundational.
And that's really where the other solution we mentioned, Delinea Privilege Manager, comes into the picture. It's aiming for a whole different level.
Okay, so Delinea. How's it different?
Well, unlike LAPS, which is laser-focused on that one password problem, Delinea Privilege Manager is presented as a full-blown, comprehensive, privileged access management solution, a PAM solution.
PAM. Okay, so broader than just passwords.
Much broader.
Right.
When we talk PAM, we mean a holistic strategy for managing, monitoring, and securing basically all the elevated access across your whole IT environment.
All of it.
Pretty much. Endpoints, applications, systems. It goes way beyond just rotating passwords. It's about endpoint protection, access control, enterprise-wide.
Wow, okay. That's a big league. So Delinea isn't just about, like, managing a list of passwords somewhere.
Not at all. It's about controlling who can do what on an endpoint and when they can do it, and maybe even how. It offers enterprise-wide privilege management, and it includes some really advanced controls, things like just-in-time access JIT for privilege elevation.
Just in time. I've heard that term. What does that actually mean in practice?
So JIT access is, it's a game changer, honestly. Think of it like this. Instead of someone having admin rights all the time, JIT is like handing them a key that only works for maybe 5 minutes just for one specific door, and then poof, the key vanishes.
Okay. Temporary elevation for a specific task.
Exactly. You grant temporary, precisely timed access for a specific reason, and then it's revoked immediately afterwards. It massively shrinks the window of opportunity for misuse or compromise.
That sounds powerful. What else does it offer?
Well, crucially, it has a really robust set of features around visibility and auditing. Delinea Privilege Manager supports session recording.
Session recording that, like, it videos what the admin is doing.
Essentially, yes. Or provides a detailed log of actions taken during an elevated session. It also allows for real-time monitoring of those activities.
Okay, so you can see what's happening as it happens.
Right. And then you get these detailed audit trails and compliance reports for all privileged access. Which, you know, for regulated industries or strict audits, that's invaluable.
And how does it fit into the rest of the IT environment? Does it play well with others?
It does, yeah. That's a big part of its design. You manage it through a central web interface, so it's unified.
Okay.
And it's built to integrate into those broader PAM workflows we talked about. We mean integration with things like SEM systems, your Splunks, your QRadar.
Security information and event management. Got it.
Right. Also, ITSM tools like ServiceNow, IAM platforms, and, you know, other enterprise security tools. It becomes part of that bigger picture.
And platform support. We know LAPS is Windows only. What about Delinea?
Big difference here. Delinea handles elevated access across both Windows and macOS endpoints.
Oh, okay. So it addresses those hybrid environments that are becoming so common.
Exactly. If you've got a mix of Macs and PCs, Delinea can cover both, providing consistent policy and visibility.
Now, this all sounds incredibly powerful, comprehensive. I'm guessing it's not free like LAPS.
No, definitely not free. This broad platform support, the deep integrations, the advanced features, they come with a cost. Delinea Privilege Manager requires licensing.
Right.
And because it's more complex and often needs integration and customization for your specific environment, the deployment time might be longer too. It's not usually a quick weekend install like LAPS sometimes can be.
Okay, so it's an investment in time and budget.
It's an enterprise solution, so yes, it reflects that in its capabilities and its requirements.
So who is Delinea Privilege Manager really for then? If you're running, say, a large enterprise, you've got Macs and PCs, complex security rules, maybe regulatory burdens.
That's the sweet spot, yeah. It's for organizations needing comprehensive endpoint privilege management across multiple platforms.
Okay.
If you need those advanced features like the detailed session monitoring we mentioned, or the just-in-time access, or really robust compliance reporting, Delinea is built for that.
Can you give an example, like a type of organization?
Sure, think about a large financial institution. Or maybe a major healthcare provider.
Okay, lots of sensitive data, strict regulation.
Exactly. They absolutely need to enforce least privilege policies strictly. They need to monitor pretty much every sensitive action taken by anyone with elevated rights. And they need a crystal clear audit trail for regulators.
Right.
Delinea supports all of that.
No.
Managing access across Windows and Macs, enforcing policies like JIT, recording sessions, integrating with their SIEM for threat detection. It's designed for those advanced threats, insider risks, and complex compliance needs you find in larger, more intricate IT environments.
So, okay, if we put them side by side now.
Yeah.
LAPS versus Delinea.
Yeah.
It seems pretty clear they serve quite different purposes, different scales.
They're different.
LAPS is straightforward, cost-effective,
Yeah.
assuming you accept the free but unsupported aspect. Great for rotating local admin passwords in Windows-only, domain-joined environments.
Right. Ideal for smaller orgs or maybe departments within a larger one with just basic needs.
Yeah.
Where that not supported thing is maybe a known accepted risk for the benefit of simplicity and cost.
Okay. And Delinea Privilege Manager.
That's the powerful enterprise-grade tool. It brings the advanced stuff, session monitoring, JIT, multi-platform support, all to the table.
Making it a much better fit for organizations with those complex security landscapes, tough compliance requirements, basically when good enough isn't good enough.
Exactly. When you need a comprehensive, supported, feature-rich solution for privileged access on endpoints.
So when it comes down to making the choice, the really critical advice coming from our sources seems to be you have to choose the solution that fits your organization's specific size, scope, and security needs.
That's the core message. There's no single best answer, only the best answer for you.
You really need to consider your own environment, right? Is it just Windows or do you have Macs in the mix? Maybe Linux servers too, though Delinea is more endpoint focused here. Are you just looking for basic password rotation? Or do you need that full PAM capability with monitoring, application control, JIT access?
And then the practical things, budget constraints, obviously. And those specific compliance rules you might fall under, IPA, PCI, DSS, whatever it is.
Yeah, those requirements can really dictate the level of control and auditing you need.
Absolutely. What really stands out to me is it's about knowing your battlefield, you know? Are you trying to secure a small, relatively simple, Windows-only outpost?
Right.
Or are you defending this sprawling, multi-platform digital fortress with complex threats?
Each tool has its place.
Definitely. But only one is likely the right fit for your specific challenge today.
Well, hopefully this deep dive has armed you, the listener, with a much clearer understanding of these two very distinct approaches to managing local administrator access and passwords.
Yeah, helping you make a more informed decision for your organization's security posture, which is always the goal.
Absolutely.
And maybe as you think about your choice, here's a final thought, something provocative to maybe mull over.
Okay, leave us with something to think about.
Given how fast the cyber threat landscape keeps evolving, new attacks, new techniques all the time,
Constantly changing.
and how IT environments themselves just keep getting more complex, cloud, hybrid, more devices, how might proactively thinking about your organization's future security needs, maybe looking out 2, 3, 5 years?
Beyond just today's requirements.
Exactly. How might that perspective influence your choice of a privilege management solution right now?